Good morning. Well, did any of you spot my mistake yesterday? No, it wasn't a deliberate mistake. It was truly a mistake. And I don't really understand why I made it. Because as I come down the list of patriarchs that I was talking about yesterday, I come to Noah. And I've got the list in front of me. I've got it here on the stand at the moment. And when I came to Noah, I said his name meant hope. Why did I say that? Because his true name, and I have it here, his true translation of that name is comfort or rest. That God would give comfort and rest. When I found I'd made the mistake, I went back to God and I said, do you want me to do the thing all over again? He said, no, I want you to use it. I want you to use it. Because you made a mistake. But Jesus was filled with the Holy Spirit, and he therefore did not make mistakes. And Jesus in his lifetime mentions and refers to Noah and people like Daniel. And if he is able to refer to people like Noah and Daniel, then they must have been real people. A lot of people almost reject it and say, no, it's just old myths. Well, Jesus believed it. You know, when I went to college, they would take the Old Testament stories apart. In fact, when we came out of college after our 3 years of seminary training, we had to look around and wonder what it was we believed at all, because almost everything we'd gone into college believing had almost been stripped from us. But as we came out of college with all these wonderful theories about who was what, did what, when, and everything else, we suddenly almost had to stand back again and rethink the whole thing and say to ourselves, well, Jesus believed in Noah. Jesus believed in Daniel. So if he believed it, then as far as I'm concerned, I believe it as well. And I challenge you all to think about this, that these were truly real people. Now this morning we want to go back past Noah's father to his grandfather, Methuselah. His name had meant his death shall bring. You know, and people have been expecting this particular judgment on the world for a long time. Methuselah lived to almost 950 years, but he was given a name because prophetically it was said that God will bring judgment when Methuselah died. Can you imagine having that type of responsibility in your life? Every time you had a cold, people say, is this it? Is this it? Is he about to die? Is God about to bring judgment? It was a strange life to actually live. But he lived for well over 900 years. But on the day that he died, the floods came. By this time, Noah was about 600 years old himself. And probably for hundreds of years, he'd been building this ark. We don't know how he built it. We don't know what tools he used to build it. All we know is that he built it. It was an enormous structure. It's about half the size of the Titanic. And now it was almost completed. Suddenly, God sends to him different animals to go into the ark. We don't know how they managed to live there over this particular time after the floods came. Probably God put them into some sort of hibernation. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to get on in the ark. But finally, the animals are loaded, and Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives, they all go into the ark, and then God shuts them in. God shuts them in. No one else is allowed to enter. And the floods come. No, it's a very strange thing, because up until this time it hadn't rained. People don't realize that. The earth was watered by a mist. The air was very humid. You couldn't see a blue sky. The only rainbow you'd ever see would be a white rainbow, because the air was so full of moisture. But now something happens. We don't know what. Probably the very planet changed orbit. But suddenly the rains come down, and all of this water held in the atmosphere is precipitated upon the earth at the same time. And we're told that the waters of the deep suddenly spring up from inside the earth. There's tumultuous things happening throughout the world. The whole world has been literally scoured. And we can see evidence of this as we look at rock formations throughout the world. But Noah and his family and his animals, they lived within the ark. And they lived there for over a year in that ark. And then we are told the waters began to subside. Down they came, and they landed on Mount Ararat. Many people wonder where it is, because if it landed there, where is it now? And many people have searched for it, and some have even said they've thought they've seen it. Well, there's no evidence as to anybody having truly found it. But if it is there, probably one day somebody will find it, and it will be revealed again. Because most of the timbers by now, of course, will have rotted and gone. And Noah and his sons and the animals, they come out of the ark. And God said, I've done something very special. I'm now going to make a new covenant with you. And tomorrow we will look at that covenant and what it means.